Today is January 5th, 2024, Friday, 1:06 p.m. Now, let's briefly discuss the Forex market for today. Yesterday, the market's net profit was around $20,000, with the current net value at $744,000. As for the market trends, the USD was essentially oscillating at high levels. Gold experienced a bottoming out and rebounded. After a significant drop, gold pulled back up. I took a short position at this level yesterday and closed it within this range, profiting only from yesterday's gold movement. I didn't engage in trading crude oil, as it was consolidating at higher levels, only showing a decline later in the night. The euro had little action, while the British pound, where I entered a short position at this level, reached the previous low, allowing me to exit the trade. So, essentially, I traded on gold and the British pound yesterday. Next, let's talk about today's market. The most crucial aspect today is the NFP data, which will be released later in the day. In my personal opinion, this NFP data is likely to be favorable for the US dollar. There's a possibility that the US dollar will continue to rise. At worst, the US dollar may experience a bottoming out and rebound. Looking at the daily chart of the US dollar, we can see that it bottomed out and recovered yesterday. Today's trend for the US dollar, when observing the resistance at this level, seems evident. When we look at the 4-hour chart, it becomes apparent that this region is difficult to resist. In light of this data, I believe there is a high probability of favorable conditions. As for gold, it mainly experienced a bottoming out and rebounded. The current position is forming a consolidation pattern, resembling a doji star. From this perspective, gold might decline to the previous consolidation zone, forming a doji star. At this position, many consider it a signal for the end of the decline, although it could also indicate a continuation of the downward trend. Whether it signals a bottom or a continuation of the decline depends on the daily candlestick formed today. Therefore, today's daily candlestick is crucial for confirmation. Personally, I believe there is a high probability that gold will continue to move downward. If there's a rebound today and it fails to break above 2055, there is a high likelihood of a reversal to the downside. Today's gold has already set up potential short positions. Of course, if gold opens with a gap up and rebounds before the data release, reaching around 2055, caution is advised. If, during the data release, there is a spike upwards but fails to breach 2055, it's a strong signal for a potential downward movement. On the other hand, if there's a strong move up, surpassing 2055 and reaching 2060, gold may turn bullish. This outlines the current strategy for gold, with a predisposition for short positions today. As for crude oil, it experienced a bottoming out yesterday and rebounded, indicating a healthy trend. In an upward trend, it's not necessary for prices to continually rise. Pullbacks followed by upward movements contribute to a more sustainable and favorable market condition. The daily chart shows that yesterday's pullback and today's potential continuation upward suggest a high probability of further gains. This type of trend opens up the upside potential, as it involves a cleansing or washing out of weak positions. Analyzing the daily chart, the pullback yesterday and the subsequent upward movement create a pattern that indicates a favorable probability of further upward momentum. The space for upward movement is expanding, resembling a washing out of weak positions. Today's strategy for crude oil involves a continuation of the pullback for a long position. Considering yesterday's low and the subsequent rebound, the likelihood is that today's low will not be lower than yesterday's, possibly forming a higher low. Considering these factors, going long around 71.6 is a viable option. Today's analysis will focus on gold and crude oil, with no detailed analysis for the euro and pound. There isn't much to discuss for these currencies. For gold, there is no attractive risk-reward profile for potential positions. Today, the primary focus is on the NFP data. Looking ahead, I am particularly optimistic about the potential upward movement of the US dollar tonight. The outlook suggests a decline in gold against the US dollar, with gold moving downward and crude oil moving upward. Additionally, there is an expectation of a decline in non-US currencies.